Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited for this video because we're going to be reacting and listening to one of my favorite singers ever, and that is Josh Groban. There are lots of opinions on Josh Groban. Some really love him, some really don't like him. I happen to really like him. We'll talk more about it later, but one thing that I really admire about Josh Groban is his very resonant voice. It doesn't matter how high he's singing, he still sounds resonant, he still sounds like a baritone. His most famous song is definitely You Raise Me Up, so in this video, we're gonna be listening to a live version of that. Here we go. That's such an iconic line of music. That melody paired with the violin is giving me Irish, Scottish folk song vibes.
Troubles come and my heart burdened be.
How would you describe Josh Groban's voice? Let me know in the comments some adjectives that you might use. We could say it's very clear, first of all. There's no extra clutter or any sounds in the voice that we don't want to hear. Some pop singers, and I don't know if we classify him as a pop singer, I'm not exactly sure what we would classify him as, but there's something extra in the voice. There's some sort of tension, and sometimes that is a style that we're going for. It's a texture that we might enjoy, but it's not necessarily one that we want all the time. And Josh Groban certainly has a clear and resonant voice. We could say smooth, buttery,
baked on a buttery, crispy crust.
baritone. Overall, very pleasant to listen to.
I am down and oh my soul so weary. When troubles come and my heart burdened be.
We say Josh Groban is a baritone, and if you don't know what that is, it's a voice type that lies between bass and tenor. I am also a baritone, and one simple way that you can think of it, it's not always this simple, but a baritone can sing in the bass range and in the tenor range, but maybe not as high as a typical tenor and not as low as a typical bass. But I would advise you to not get too caught up on voice types because they can put you in a creative box. We use it in choir settings, for example, because we need to sort of classify singers into sections. But if you're thinking, oh, I'd love to sing You Raise Me Up, but I'm not a baritone, do not worry. If you can sing it and it's comfortable in your voice, absolutely go for it. If it's not comfortable, if it's too high or if it's too low, change the key.
Then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sing a while with me.
One thing that he does nicely is he shows his front teeth when he sings. It gives us a bit more brightness. It gives us some of that clarity that we associate with Josh Groban. One thing he can also do is to keep the vowels nice and tall. So instead of, and I am still, that might go flat, we think, and I am still,
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I'm on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
I chose to react to a live version of this for a reason. There's a real life orchestra. There are actual people in the audience, and anything can happen in a live performance. If you ever see a live performance from a performer you're used to listening to on Spotify or their album or something like that, you'll notice a difference. And one of the biggest challenges that a performer faces when they sing live is being able to hear themselves and also hear the orchestra that's accompanying them. So yes, in live performance, there's going to be moments where maybe your pitch is a little bit off. Maybe the ensemble isn't completely together. That's okay. That's the beauty of live performance.
I am strong when I'm on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
I don't know if you noticed this, but Josh Groban always sings with vibrato. It really suits his sound, and it suits the music that he does. I'm just wondering, where did that vibrato come from? Was there a teacher in his life that said you should always sing with vibrato? Did he sing classical music or opera before? I don't know. But he's one of the few mainstream artists today that consistently use vibrato. So instead of something like, I am strong, which might be super flat, like I just sang it, I am strong.
You sound so good, Hyde Park. I want to see your lights in the air if you got them. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas.
The audience has their lights going, they know every single word, they're gonna sing along. This is nice. To get a little more technical now and to open the hood of the car that is You Raise Me Up, let's talk about the vowels on the words You Raise Me Up. Now this is something I talk a lot about, but it's gonna make your singing go from pretty good to pretty freaking great. And that is changing vowels on certain notes to make it easier for you to sing. Instead of, and listen very carefully because it's gonna be a very subtle difference, instead of you raise me up, which is kind of spread this way, it's you raise me up. So everything is tall, everything is vertical. So it's not get really stuck. It's you raise me up. Everything's a little bit more open, it's taller, it's easier to sing.
Walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
For me, by far, the hardest part of this song is shoulders. Do you falsetto it? Do you mix it? Do you belt it? What the heck do you do? It's in this awkward place where it's not low in your voice, but it's also not really high and dramatic. Like you can't just belt it out. It has to be soft and tender, and that's really, really hard to do. Josh decides to go into his falsetto, which I think is a really nice choice here.
I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You ready to sing? You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I'm on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. Come on!
Oh, it's so good. And that high note, I don't know what it is, G sharp, A, something like that. He always does so well. He always just absolutely kills it. So there's a key change in this song. And what that means is we're going from one key to another key to add some sort of dramatic effect. You do a key change for a reason. And as you can see here, and as you can hear it really clearly, it's for dramatic purposes. It makes it more exciting. It's just, there's more drama in it. I'm also noticing and thinking about for the first time how bright and forward his sound actually is. I always think of his voice as very resonant, very clean, clear, but I'm also hearing a lot of forward brightness. Mountains. It's not back mountains. It's very, very forward.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains.
Right there. So mountains. It's very, very in the cheekbones, in the mask, or whatever you want to describe it as. We can see his front teeth. Even this wonderful choir here, they're doing the exact same thing. They're finding that brightness. They're matching his vowels. They're matching his tone. And it's very bright, very forward. I love it. It's actually really cool to hear back to back to back. We hear his chest voice, we hear his head voice, we hear his falsetto. He's really showing off his incredible vocal range right now. Okay, so we're in the chest voice right now. There's a little bit of mixing going on with the head voice, but he's going to flip up to his falsetto in just a second. Back into his chest voice. A great singer, a great guy. I wonder how many times in his career he has sung You Raise Me Up. We're probably into the, what, tens of thousands? That's it for today's video, my friends. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Oh, and don't forget to check out my Patreon where I'm sharing lots of information on how to sing. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.